Hi everyone and welcome to today's video. Today we're looking at a pen that is, well, it's pretty well known and is probably considered the starter pen of any on the market, and that is the Pilot Metropolitan. What I'm going to do today is just a sort of a short video talking about the Pilot Metropolitan and the size and weight and the things that I particularly like about it or don't like about it. I'll show you a couple of variations on a couple of like the nibs and the filling systems, and then I'll do a quick writing sample with a couple of different nib options. So this particular one is the Bronze Lizard model, and in Australia, these pens retail for somewhere in the vicinity of $30, generally sort of between the $30 to $35 mark, sometimes up to around the $40 mark. They are available online for slightly less, and if you buy them from the US, factoring in, of course, you have to add shipping and things like that onto it, but they retail in the United States for about $15 or thereabouts from most sort of online retailers. When they came out, they were considered a bit of a game changer pen because for such a low price, having a reliable fountain pen with a pretty decent nib and coming in a range of different finishes, well, it sort of, yeah, was a game changer. And so when I first got one of these, it was actually one of the first pens that I got. I admit I wasn't a massive fan of the pen. I was a rollerball user. I didn't like ballpoint pens, and so the rollerball pens I were getting tended to be a little on sort of the larger size with a larger section and things like that. So this felt a bit like a ballpoint pen in the hand to me, and it didn't really appeal. But in the last year, I've really come to love the Pilot Metropolitan and can certainly see the fantastic value that this pen has. The pens that I have are I think the violet, black, and the turquoise, and I've got them in different nib options. So fine, the bronze and the black are both mediums, and the violet is the relatively new addition to the lineup on the Metropolitan, the 1mm calligraphy nib as they call it, but it's basically a 1mm stub nib. So in terms of specs, the pen is 138mm when it's capped. Uncapped, it's 126mm, and posted, and it does post really quite well, very securely, it's 153mm. It pushes to cap with a nice click, and it's a really sort of nice pen, and it fits well in the hand as sort of either unposted or posted. The cap's not too heavy. The whole weight of the pen is 26 grams, with 9 of that being in the cap. So there's a lot of weight still in the pen. And in terms of where the balance sits, it does sit sort of around the middle of the pen, so just behind the section. Now it is a narrow section, but it does have a little flare on the end, so you don't ever feel like your hands are going to run off the pen. They come with steel nib, as you can see, fairly sort of straightforward Pilot nib, imprinted with Pilot, the size, and Japan. And they write incredibly smoothly. In fact, much smoother than pens easily 3, 4, 5 times the price a lot of the time. So in terms of the filling system, now these pens come with a converter in the packet when you buy them, and they are these horrible squeeze converters, which really you don't get a lot of ink up into the pen. They're difficult to clean, but they're not really ideal. You also get with the pen a cartridge, which I have on the black here. And the cartridges are actually pretty good. They have a pretty good ink capacity, and they're sturdy in the pen, and I think a much better option. Of course, you say your inks are limited in what you can then use in the pen if you're only able to use the cartridges, because they are a proprietary cartridge converter system. So you can't just use an international, you have to use their particular brand. So as you can see here in the turquoise, what I've done, the ink's actually running low on this one, is I refill the cartridges using an ink syringe, and I just fill it with whatever ink I have a desire to use in that pen. And at the moment this is filled with Robert Oster Deep Sea. The other option, of course, is to buy a converter, and there's a range of different converters, the Con 40, 50 and 70. I think that only the 40 and the 50 fit in the Metropolitan, and they don't have a huge ink capacity, but they are easily refilled and cleaned, and you know, have a little agitator, as I think you can see there, in the converter, which allows for better, you don't get sort of breaking up the air bubbles to stop ink starvation down to the feed in the nib. But they will add price onto the pen, so anywhere between $3.50 and up to $10 here in Australia for a converter for the pen. So I think that covers most of the features of the pen that I wanted to cover here. What we'll do now is we'll do a quick writing sample with the three different nib options that I have here, and then I'll just do a quick little wrap up of my thoughts and feelings on the pen now. So let's start with the fine nib. So as I said, this is the fine, and it's in the turquoise pen, and it is Robert Oster Deep Sea. So that's the fine, and being a Japanese pen, the fine is very fine. I find the fines on the Metropolitan just a little too fine for my taste, and does make it a tiny bit scratchy. Here we have the bronze with the medium nib, which is my preferred nib on the Metropolitan, particularly for sort of everyday writing. And this is filled with Monteverde Canyon Rust. So as you can see, even the medium is still quite fine. It's a nice line width, and it does perform well on a lot of paper. It doesn't put down so much ink that it bleeds and feathers heavily on even cheaper paper. So I find it to be a really nice nib for everyday use. It's smooth. These pens are incredibly reliable. So rarely do you get a hard start or skipping or anything. So yeah, really, really interesting pens, and incredible value. Here is the 1mm calligraphy stub on the Violet retro pen, and this is filled with Mont Blanc Lavender Purple. So you can see that gives a nice line and shape to the writing. It's not the smoothest of nibs, but you expect that with those sort of more stubby nibs. For me, the absolute preference on these pens is the medium. I know a lot of people really love the fine, but the medium is such a lovely everyday line width. So, what do I love and what do I not love? Well, I love the price. Obviously, these are really reasonably priced pens. As I said, in America they sell for around the $15 mark, and here in Australia, between 30 and 40. I have seen them either online or in brick and mortar stores. Even for $40, this pen is still cheaper than a Lamy Safari. Here in Australia, Lamy Safari sells for about $50 in a store, so $40, still $10 cheaper, even with a converter, which you still have to add to the Lamy pen. This pen is around $10 cheaper, and I think it's as good or better an actual writer than the Lamy. Now, the Lamy also has that issue with the triangular grip that a lot of people don't like. It suits my hand shape, but it doesn't suit a lot of people. But this pen has a nice sort of uniform tapered section, which really is much easier. It is small, but it's much more sort of universal in a lot of ways. What else do I love? I love the range of colours and options that are available for the pen, including the different nib options. And of course, you can buy. There are a range of cheaper, almost sort of disposable Pilot pens that you can get to swap the nibs out. So which makes it opens up a lot of variety for you as a pen user. I also love how strong these pens are. They're made of metal, so they can be thrown in your backpack or in your pocket without sort of too much of a worry. And you know, if you lose them, you're not losing a $300 Visconti pen or you know, something sort of more like a Pilot Custom 74 with a gold nib or something like that. These are really great everyday knockabout pens, everyday writers, perfect for students, perfect for people in the workplace. They're not too flashy, so they're not going to attract too much attention from people with idle hands, if you will. They're just a really good everyday knockabout pen. What I don't like the filling systems. Even the converter, which I have in the bronze, which I showed you earlier, isn't ideal. The ink capacity is absolutely tiny. When the best option for filling a pen is using a syringe to fill an old disposable cartridge with ink, then there's an issue there. These can't be eyedroppered because they're made of metal. There are so many metal components to the make. But there's a problem with the filling for these pens. The converters that come with them are, in my opinion, just about useless and not worth using. I've only put it in this for this review. I don't normally use them at all. As I said, my normal method of filling these pens is to fill an old cartridge. Or with the black, I just use the Namiki black cartridges as a matter of course, which come in a packet of 6 and are really great value. They're super cheap and it's really nice black ink. I'll just do a quick little writing sample just so you can see what the ink actually looks like. So this is the Pilot Namiki black ink cartridge. So it is a really nice black, and you know, these ink cartridges cost something like $4 in Australia for 6, so they're fabulous value. And when they're done, I rinse them out and I keep them and I put them in my other Metropolitans. There's not a lot else to not like about these pens. They write well, they're strong, they're well made, they're well priced, and fantastic value, and punch way above their weight. If I'm suggesting pens to a new user, the 3 pens I suggest are the Safari, but I make sure that they go and actually hold one first to make sure they're comfortable with it. There's lots going for the Safari. They're good writers, there's lots of new options, all that sort of stuff. I also suggest the Faber-Castell Loom. It's a little bit more expensive, but it's probably got one of the best steel nibs of any pen in the under $100 price range. And I suggest the Metropolitan. So that is the Pilot Metropolitan in the options that I have, and to give you an example of what the pen is and how it works. If you found this video useful, please give me a thumbs up and please subscribe to my channel. Hit the notifications button if you want to stay up to date with the videos that I produce. And please drop me a message with any products or questions or anything like that that you'd like me to look at, and I'll see what I can do. In the meantime, enjoy your pens, enjoy writing, and I'll talk to you later.